and welcome to another episode of Lancer Custom Werks, where I will be discussing the various mech builds you could make and play with Lancer. Duskwing is annoying as shit. You are probably thinking, doesn't that fit Goblin more? But honestly, to me, Duskwing is way more annoying to whoever that pissed it off. That's because Duskwing can be extremely persistent thanks to ability to just hover everywhere with its high speed and also turn bloody invisible on its turn, so half of the reaction fire will just miss if they can even get through its absurdly high evasion. Its core power is even worse because it can set up holograms every time it moves that just explode. Keyword, every time it moves, including all the extra movement stuff like Skirmisher, Hunter, and Jägerkust 1. Its only weakness is its low heat cap, repair cap, and the ability to get instantly destroy if anyone actually touch it. In the following 40 builds, you will frequently find Flicker Field Projector because what's better than invisibility? More invisibility, Neurospike, so nobody can shoot at you and your allies at all, and Stun Crown, because nothing said go fuck yourself like a mech-sized flashbang. There's striker builds, there's artillery builds, there's support builds, and of course most if not all of them are a little controller-ish, or a lot, because Duskwing has 11 base save target and it would be a shame to not use that to its fullness. Anyway, let's start this off with the striker controller builds, the most numerous Duskwing builds even though Duskwing is at its most vulnerable at close quarter combat. This is Palaestra, and what it does is simple. Supermassive Tiger Hunter combat sheath makes more good multi-punching power, and while Duskwing can dodge, it has low E defense that might cause it to be jammed, so this is pretty good. And with synthetic muscle netting, even a Goliath can be sent flying. On top of Flicker Field and Neurospike, smoke charges give even more protection to it and its allies, while Scanner Swarm lets this Duskwing hack people better by getting really close. And yes, for the most part, this is how Duskwing striker controller builds are gonna be like. In fact, this build isn't the only one packing synthetic muscle netting to get even. This is And All the Angels Sang, a RAMJET Duskwing that wants to ram the absolute hell out of everything with Duelist, Titanomachi, and Juggernaut combo, with Power Knuckle for even more knockdown, and Burst Launcher with extra accuracy from combined arms to impair the same poor enemy. My only question is, why does this build has a jump jet system? Duskwing can just fly. This is a Hummingbird strapped with Ordnance, a very sneaky Duskwing that take advantage of Kai Bioplating and Ace for more accuracy and agility to remain hidden until you stab someone with the charged blade. And if you feel like it, you can launch Javelin Rocket in a row, then either grapple a goddamn Goliath with SMN or use Roller Grenade on someone to push them into the rocket, dealing consistent damage no matter their evasion. This is Meteor Shower, a Duskwing with too many fold knives, so, remember the part about Duskwing core power where every unique movement counts for the holograms, all the fold knife teleporting counts separately, so that's a lot of bombs. You can also grapple your victim and stab them with the fold knife to teleport both of you together, as long as you are in control of the grapple. Also, this build has expanded compartment for some reasons. And this is standard Duskwing Grappler build. Do I really need to explain this one? Okay, what you do is first, grapple, then Bristlecrown until something dies, whether that's you or someone else doesn't matter. Gunslinger is very powerful with these many attacks, don't underestimate it. The build also comes with some total strength suite system to assist in grappling or yeeting rock. Okay, I think that's enough about synthetic muscle netting stuff, let's talk about something else. This is a more traditional style Duskwing because it's insanely annoying. It has Shock Knife with Shock Wreath to burn and blind foes, Flash Charge and Stun Crown to blind and jam everyone, Burst Launcher with Stormbringer to impair and knock everything in 15 range radius, Reactive Weave to get out at the first sign of trouble, with Infiltrator to become incredibly hard to hit and even more annoying, and it even has universal comp so it can just patch all the damage, rendering all the enemy's effort invalid in an instant. This is Light Shower of Hellfire, a missile-loving Stormbringer Duskwing with Vigilia Rocket and Burst Launcher to knock the heck out of everyone, a reminder that Burst Launcher also works with Walking Armory too, so its bonus damage from OP caliber can be Hellfired for more burn, and with Javelin Rocket, you can knock people into them for more damage, or just use Ferris Lash which can also help your slower allies move, and you will not be slow at all. Ace 2 and Speed 8 is insanely fast, almost too fast for a Duskwing. This is the Lord of Dance, a hack and slash Duskwing with Hunter Logic and Neurospike for some serious control over your foes, allowing you to pick what they can see or not. Fold Knives, Singularity Motivator, and Infiltrator give you even more shenanigans and mobility to escape. And of course, its Variable Sword, boosted with OP Caliber and Duelist, can be very powerful. This is I have two ladies in my mech and they call for murder, because of course someone will make a Duskwing with Seekomet, and also the Technophile NHP to reroll check or save to save your ass. This build has the usual Neurospike, Flicker Field, and Stun Crown set, a frequent but useful set of tools, it just that this Duskwing is gonna be doing more stabbing. Also the submitter suggests that the pilot can operate outside of the mech and let the mech do the blending itself. This pilot is very brave, and also probably very short-lived because plans don't work with Seekomet around. And this is Garden of Thorn, a Duskwing that like to nail down its foes with the Impaler, and if that doesn't work, it has a whole bunch of tools like Aggressive System Sync, Viral Logic, and Mesmer Charges to cook people up and force them to not move or get closer to you, which with Vanguard, will get them nailed to the floor. And this is something I have been waiting for, this is Terra Wingblades, a half-Atlas Duskwing that has Jägerkoost 1. Here's a funny story, a lot of people already know the sheer mimetic power of JK1 Duskwing, so nobody makes it except for one submitter, well, two, but 40 submission slot limit prevented their entry. Anyway, when Duskwing core power is active, every time a player uses JK1 to move 2 spaces off an object, it creates 1 hologram. In an urban map or any map with lots of walls and obstacles around, you will be expected to copy and paste a lot of hologram tokens, and keep in mind that this core power lasts for the rest of the scene, that's gonna be a lot of explosive holograms. Anyway, this build also has multi-gear maneuver system to trip up larger opponent and duelist Terashima blade for highly effective tactically flexible melee weapon, it's just so good. With 8 speed and ace, even before including JK1, nothing can escape this Duskwing. So there you have it, all the crazy and totally insane striker controller Duskwing builds for this episode. While Duskwing is weak against hull check and save, the rest of its traits and stats doesn't really impede close quarter combat, making it quite effective at it. Or maybe the image of a tiny battlesuit judo slamming a giant mech is just funny to a lot of people. But I'm not done yet with striker build, there aren't many of them at all, but some of the Duskwing striker builds are more on the support and defender side, somehow. This is Sunny with 75,000 degrees Celsius, of all things, Fomorian Battle Taxi Duskwing. You are probably asking, what? Trust me, I want that answered too. Anyway, this large Duskwing can carry only a single size half buddy on its back, with ASO stabilizer for overshield and Oasis wall for instant highly effective cover. It also has a whole bunch of plasma cutter to cut through people and obstacle, but mostly people because it can bloody fly, and speaking of that, why the hell does it has an all theater movement suite when it can fly already? This is 7-page Muta, I do not need to explain what's going on here, but this build also has armor lock to give it a very strong brace, stasis generator to freeze a random foe, and stasis bolt to shoot down incoming projectile. Very helpful, but if you want this build to defend more people, you should give it more health instead of agility. With all that done, we can finally move on to the artillery controller builds, the more shooty Duskwing builds. This is my neck hurts, a statement most people that fought Duskwing will say because humans tend to not look up in danger. This is a Duskwing with a whole bunch of Oracle, which can shoot oversight blocking obstacles and are very accurate, allowing you more chances to crit and trigger all the crackshot effects. This Duskwing also comes with mag clamps and forge clamps to clamp onto tall objects so you won't be easily knocked down, and with tracking bug, nothing can hide from your guns. This build isn't alone in this idea either, this one has an integrated Oracle for even more bullets, an autocooler overcharge loop for even more skirmish, that's gonna be a lot of bullets coming in. This is Fire for Effect, an all-cannon Duskwing to knock the hell out of everything with Siege Specialist, walking armory mortars are devastating as all hell. Also packing clamp bombs to ask people to move or die, and the usual Duskwing system for usual Duskwing shenanigans. And with Ace, there's nowhere this Duskwing can't reach and fire from. This is Schrodinger's Bandit, a Duskwing with a whole bunch of nexus for a lot of pain, and just hang back slinging invade and wandering nightmare to stop people from reacting to anything, or just charge straight in to stab people, with Scanner Swarm for an even more effective hacking and explosive vent to explosively burn people around you. And of course, this build isn't alone in using light nexus to spam senti main effects. This is Tron Racing, another Nexus Duskwing that uses Oasis Wall with integrated Nerve Weave to make one hell of an energy resisting cover. Said hard cover can also be used to hide for Infiltrator, and since it's indestructible, you basically have a permanent cover to hide that will never fail you. And with autogun, even when you aren't firing, you will still be doing some damage. This is a Butterfly with Fusion Rifle, a fusion rifle armed Duskwing which with Neurolink, let this fusion rifle be fired at range 9 for maximum damage, that's gonna hurt, especially with Infiltrator and Crackshot, with Horo S1 and Viral Logic to position the enemy, and Veil Rifle with Oasis Wall for cover. This build ensures your team will always be in advantageous positions while the enemy won't be. This is I can't believe it's not Ace Combat, a Stormbringer Duskwing with a lot of Sharanga missiles and other missiles for more missile action, with Horo S1 and 2 alongside everything else, you won't be lacking in control and defense. And since I'm talking about missile Duskwing already, oh boy. Anyway, this Duskwing has a shit ton of missile rack, which with Roland Chamber, Stormbringer, and Gunslinger, that's gonna be a lot of damage when enemy grouped up. And in an emergency, you can use redundant system upgrades to quick stabilize to fire another salvo quickly, and BB charges for some terrain clearing. And that's all on the artillery controller Duskwing. It's quite a surprise how much firepower can be packed into such a tiny frame, while still having a lot of leftover for massive controlling shenanigans. Speaking of control, well, let's go back to the original role of Duskwing, the controller support builds, which despite being made for this, there sure aren't that many of. This is all my friends are metalheads, a teleport taxi Duskwing that can use Oasis and Blink Space Tunneler at once to let the rest of the team arrives on the front line with hard cover already prepared. And with Veil Rifle, Stasis Bolt, and Accelerate, your team won't be lacking in protection and mobility. After all the crazy Duskwing builds, this one is a bit lacking in firepower, but that's fine, it's more on the support side. This is Garden of Weed, a hacker Duskwing that can heat gun or counter hack enemy hacker, though any Duskwing with hacker talent and invade options can do this anyway, using aggressive system sync, Horo S1, and Viral Logic to control and restrict enemy movement. With Spotter and Marker Light, it can throw out lock on everywhere, which combo well with Stormbringer Burst Launcher to impair and knock down foes for even more accuracy. This is gonna be an annoying Duskwing to deal with. This is Dide's lessons are all lies, says RA, a Tesseract-focused Duskwing revolved around tricking its foes with Tesseract. In the Tesseract 0G field, most enemy will be slowed, but Duskwing can just fly through it with no problem. Knock enemy into it with Stub Cannon or Stormbringer Burst Launcher, and they are probably going to be stuck in there for a while because Blast 3 is bloody massive. And if they are a really slow enemy type, tough luck to them. This is I did not shoot the deputy, it was the AI. A Scylla Duskwing that wants to get its nearby allies shot so it can start shooting back with Burst Launcher and Nexus, which with a normal skirmish, give you potentially 6 chances to crit and inflict status on someone. And with Scorpion, whoever missed hacking you and your buddy is going to have a bad day. Lotus Projector can also be used to find hidden targets so you won't be surprised by enemy attack, and Black Thumb Technophile combo for the usual patching, but having Black Thumb 3 would be better since it lets you patch up your allies too. And finally, this is Oberon, Fairy King, a Duskwing that like to use Meta Hook to extend its sensor range to give all its massive array of tech systems even more range to play with, maybe even going hidden then invade because Infiltrator effect works with tech attack. All the missile racks are also good in softening weaker enemies so your allies could finish them off more easily. And that's all on the controller support Duskwing builds. There's not much I could say. Duskwing does its original job very well, especially with its mobility even with 10 sensor range. Anyway, that's all 40 of Duskwing builds reviewed. Once again, I would like to thank all participants that have submitted their builds for this episode. I really like the amount of craziness I have seen in all the builds, and Duskwing actually got way more submissions than I expected. It's unfortunately that I can't fit all of them in. So, here's the topic for the next episode. Yes, it's finally coming. Oh boy, I'm eager to see what builds will come from this. Anyway, with everything done, I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.